All right, everyone. Welcome to SLCC Live. That's right. We are back and we are better than ever. Sort of. We are here on this Zoom call. We are doing our first real show in a long time, and we are very excited about it. And today, we are talking about one of America's favorite pastimes, movies. So, first of all, hello. My name's Zach. I'm your host today. I'm like a Kirkland brand John Krasinski. That's fine. I am joined today by my co-host, a man who still thinks that the coronavirus involves some kind of beer. It's Brian.
Shades of pale today. That is the beverage of choice to combat coronavirus.
And our news weather traffic man who just changed from his night PJs to his day PJs. It's Denny.
Yeah, man, that's me.
Right. And then the ringleader keeping all of this together, my favorite SLCC student, it's Alex Brown, our producer.
Hello, everybody. It's me.
Well, welcome.
Wait, hold on, Zach. I didn't know we were playing favorites.
I mean, oops. And then, of course, overseeing all, we do. She won't be like on the call, but you might see her face in the picture. We do have Allison, making sure we don't say anything too offensive.
Woo woo!
All right. So today we want to just kind of liven things up. We want to just have a good time. We're going to be talking movies because we all love movies. And recently we've had a lot of time to start watching movies. So we want to just start a chat about the movies that we like and the movies that we, want to watch or that we have watched in the past. So I will throw it out to you, Brian. I have a question for you. What was your, when you were a kid, and because you were like always quarantined as a kid because you couldn't go anywhere. What's your go-to movie? What did you watch?
Well, so I was looking at this question and man, I've always loved movies. I couldn't really do just a one go-to. I'm pretty sure you have a list too. So I've just got a few things here. I've got four different categories. So Disney, of course. You got to have some of those Disney films. So like my wheelhouse, I'm 35. So it was Aladdin, Toy Story, Lion King. And who can forget the great Emilio Estevez and his band of Mighty Ducks.
Quack, quack, quack.
So good. So good. And then obviously, I mean, you guys know me enough. Sports movies, so Space Jam, The Sandlot, Rookie of the Year, old Henry Rowengartner bringing the Cubs a World Series. What a time to be alive. Adam Sandler movies, Chris Farley movies. I mean, mostly I would say my childhood was about sports and a lot of comedy. And then whatever I could get away with when my parents weren't paying attention.
Exactly. See, that's me too. I was like, I felt like I was like sneaky. I was like, I'm going to watch this PG-13 comedy.
Oh.
No, I love it. Yeah, I think, very similarly, I don't have them categorized like you. I'm not as prepared apparently, but definitely there's a Disney movie on there. I think, every kid had that movie that they watched on repeat and drove their kids crazy. There was no Frozen when I was a child.
Oh, thank God.
Mine was actually 101 Dalmatians. Apparently, really? I just liked that a lot. I don't know.
Never would have guessed.
I also like Aladdin. Good call out there. And I remember, because remember the Disney like VHS tapes that they had like the white box?
Yeah, the big white plastic case.
Yeah, like the big chunky. So I had a bunch of those. We had one that I refused to watch because I'm like, that's a girl movie, Beauty and the Beast. Which I'm like, it's actually a great, super great movie. But apparently as a child, I'm like, that has a flower on it. I don't want to watch it.
I almost listed that movie.
I also shout out to Billy Madison. I think you mentioned that one. If not, you should. That was one of mine that I quoted all the time. Just because, it's before the days of memes, you had to let a Billy Madison quote ride for like 6 months.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I was also a big fan of the Austin Powers franchise in the late 90s.
Nice.
Those were my, I felt like edgy because I'm like, it's about stuff that, I don't know about as a kid.
They make sexual references.
Family friendly. But yeah, so for me, I did like a lot of those dumb 90s comedies. Even as a kid, anything Jim Carrey, right? 90s kids love Jim Carrey.
Like The Mask and Dumb and Dumber and
so you had basically like Jim Carrey movies and Disney movies. And that was like my childhood.
Nice.
Okay, what about franchise stuff? What do you like? what's a franchise for you that's a go-to? What's something that even now, you loved when you were younger?
So I've got two on these. So the familiar throwback again for me, a lot of stuff goes back to nostalgia. Like where does it take me to in my childhood or my teenage years or something like that? So
Yeah.
the first franchise I put down was Jurassic Park. I mean, like when that original Jurassic Park came out in what was it, 94?
Yeah.
That was a game changer of a film. And while not all of them have been wonderful, like what was it? I can't even remember the names of them. I think the third one was The Lost World.
That was the second one.
Was that the second one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's been several, and they lost their way at one point. You might say lost. Get it? The reference? Maybe I went too far. But I'm kind of liking the Chris Pratt stuff, too. It's not necessarily good movies or good script writing, but Chris Pratt's a good time, and those are good movies to just shut your brain off and tune out for 2 hours, which we all need right now.
I think that's an important thing. I actually want to shout out to the Facebook who Allison actually just posted about Teen Witch, which is one of those movies where you just turn your brain off and watch it, and it's fun. She says that her favorite in her childhood was Teen Witch, not because it was good, but because it was always on. And then she also gave a shout out to The Little Mermaid. So
nice, good, Allison.
But yeah, I mean, there's those movies that I think that's the thing about the franchises is you start to get committed to a certain point, and you kind of watch it regardless. Like, I didn't think the second Chris Pratt Jurassic World, what was it called? Fallen Kingdom. I didn't think it was particularly great, but I'm like, there's dinosaurs though.
I enjoyed it.
I'm pretty good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, you just you put on your franchise goggles and you're suddenly like, I just love this thing anyway. Side note, that's how I felt about The Office. Like the last 3 seasons I hated, but I love the characters.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're just like, this is just, I have to watch this. Even if I didn't like the last one, it's just, I have to see them all. I got to finish it out.
Precisely.
Yeah, I get it.
So I want to give some shout outs to a couple major franchises. Growing up, I was a big Star Wars fan, and I still like Star Wars movies. That's another one of those things I kind of prefaced it with. I recognize that the quality is not always the best, and they're controversial, but I like them anyway. Sometimes. So
are you the Star Wars fan that gets mad at people who say they haven't seen them or didn't watch them? Like I watched them, I think 2 years ago for the first time.
I fully understand when people are like, I haven't seen them. I'm like, that's fine. It's probably for the best.
There's an age range where if you watch Star Wars between 5 and 9, it becomes your favorite thing in the world. But if you watch it outside of that, it doesn't really matter anymore.
And that's exactly it. I started watching them probably around that age, around 5. We had the VHS tapes of the original trilogy, and we actually wore out the first one because we watched it so much. And then in the 1997, the re-releases started coming out, and so I actually got to see Star Wars in the theater, and I'm a young kid, and I was having a lot of fun with that. And then obviously, when the prequel movies came out, I was kind of a tween and then teenager, and so it just hits in that nostalgic place. Yep. It does really well. And then a franchise that I love and will always forgive regardless of quality, I actually kind of discovered more like in my late teens, early adulthood, is the James Bond franchise.
Oh, interesting.
I love all of them, good and bad. Especially like my very favorite one is kind of one of the goofiest Sean Connery ones. It's called You Only Live Twice. It's where they make this 6-foot-something Scottish man look like an Asian man with really bad makeup. And it's pretty offensive by today's standards, but
I was going to ask.
And it's basically like all like the way the bad guy was the main inspiration for the Dr. Evil in the Austin Powers franchise.
Okay.
But anyway, the movies in the 80s, 70s and 80s, they got ridiculous. And I was into them. And then in the 90s, they were like these weird action movies with Pierce Brosnan. It's pretty solid. Okay. And then we talked a little bit about comedies. We mentioned some fun comedies. We mentioned kind of action movies for both of ours. I just want to do one quick, throw it out there. What's a wild card thing that you like that other people might not?
I was trying to figure that one out. I actually had my fiance send me some pictures of our movie shelves today because I wasn't sure what I wanted to go with. But there's a movie, I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, called Chef. It's got
Jon Favreau
right here. Bam, Chef. Yeah, Jon Favreau, John Leguizamo is in it, Scarlett Johansson. But it's basically Jon Favreau is a chef, and he becomes, I think you could say, disenchanted with the back of the house typical cook stuff, and leaves the restaurant and opens up a food truck and travels across the country selling different foods depending on the area that he's in. It's really cool. I enjoyed it.
That is a great suggestion, a great choice, and a great movie. Good wild card choice. My wild card is a terrible movie.
Perfect.
I'm going to give a shout out to the movie that nobody should really watch, but I have a blast watching, and it's been my quarantine buddy. I like the movie Grease 2. I like it better than Grease 1. It's a terrible movie, and I adore it. The songs are fantastic.
Beautiful.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this section. We're going to stop for a second. We're going to ground ourselves with some reality. We're going to throw it over in just a second. But before when we come back, we're going to get ready for some talk about summer blockbusters. We were ready for summer blockbusters, but they weren't quite ready for us. Stick around. We're going to talk about our top picks for what was going to come out this summer. We're going to throw it over to our news weather traffic man for a minute, Denny. What's going on, Denny?
All right, now look, listen, right? We're talking about movies here, and what better place to watch a movie than a movie theater? But it turns out that most AMC movie theaters are going to be closing down after this whole pandemic's over, because last week their rating dropped from a B to a triple C minus. So, meaning, in other words, like, once this is over, the odds of going or seeing an AMC movie theater open are like near zero. So that kind of sucks. As for the weather, Utah's kind of nice right now. We're at 54 degrees, partly cloudy, mostly sunny. We're going to have a high of 70 today and a low of 40.
Is it just me, or did we lose our man?
I think we lost our news weather traffic guy.
And it's just getting good. I do think that the weather is going great.
It's because he's got all his hair on his head and not his face like us.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, if you pop back in, I'll still hear from you, Denny. But thank you for bringing that to us. So yeah, well, let's continue this conversation. So we're going to talk summer movies now. Obviously, with what's going on with the virus, with our ability to go out or lack thereof, we haven't been able to see movies. Movie theaters are closed down, which, let's be honest, movie theaters are probably not the most sanitary place anyway. But hey, we still love watching the movies. So let's go ahead and let's talk about some of the movies that maybe got pushed back due to coronavirus. Brian, were you looking forward to anything this summer that was going to come out?
I'm not really a big in theater movies kind of guy typically, but as I was looking through this morning, there were a few that I did want to see. The third Fantastic Beasts film. Mm-hmm. They were supposed to start shooting last month, so in March, and they pushed filming back, and they don't have a start date for that. Mm-hmm. So that's delayed indefinitely. From my childhood, the nostalgia factor, the Matrix 4 filming was suspended for that. So apparently Keanu Reeves is not doing John Wick right now. He was trying to do Matrix 4, and that's going away. Then I hadn't actually seen this at all, seen previews or anything. It's a World War II drama written by and starring Tom Hanks called Greyhound. No idea what it's about. When I've seen Tom Hanks in pretty much anything, I've loved it. So yeah, I'm
exactly.
In. He wrote it. He's in it. Let's do this. And then the one movie that I'm a little bit sad about is Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I was like, maybe I'll give Tom Cruise another chance, and we suck again.
We suck again. Waterboy. Yeah, that was one thing that I was actually, I remember I saw the trailer for Top Gun, and I was like, okay, fine, whatever. It's a Top Gun movie. And then by the end of the trailer, I was like, I want to see that.
Yeah, that's how I was.
I love you, Tom Cruise. Well, yeah. So those are great call outs. You mentioned a couple things. There's movies that were scheduled for the summer that have gotten pushed back, and either they have new dates or they don't have dates at all. And then there's movies that were shooting that have been pushed back. They just started shooting the new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. They had to obviously shut that down. So come on, give the guy a chance.
I
He's been a
love
bad.
Batman, but it's Christian Bale. He's the only.
That's true. He's good. He's a good guy. But yeah, so you mentioned Top Gun Maverick that was originally slated for July 24th release. It has been pushed back to December.
December 23rd, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Then a couple other big ones that I found that were moved. Ghostbusters Afterlife. So not the sequel to the 2016 all-female reboot, but like a spiritual sequel to the originals. That was supposed to come out this summer, starring that one kid from Stranger Things. And then so that was going to be July 10th. It's been pushed back to March 5th of next year. Then we also had Wonder Woman 1984. That was originally slated for June 5th, 2020 release. It's been pushed back to August. And I think that's generous. I don't know that we're going to make that day.
Yeah, well, because the thing is with these movies, it's not just for the ones that are already filmed. Yeah, it's a lot of it just comes down to releasing them and finding the right time to release those films. But a lot of these other ones that haven't been filmed, like The Matrix 4, I mean, you've got God knows how long while everything's closed down. And
Right.
then they'll have to get back into filming and get everybody back together. So, I mean, some of those movies that were supposed to come out at the end of this year or like next summer, they're going to be delayed 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Absolutely. Especially some that, like I'm really looking forward to. Obviously like Wonder Woman would have been cool. Ones that I'm not looking as much forward to, but there's like a new Minions movie was going to come out. That's been pushed back to next year. A new Sing movie was going to come out. That's been pushed back. And interestingly enough, so Sing, the Sing 2, the sequel to the animated movie,
Mhm.
that's been pushed back, and then it got pushed into a slot that actually pushed back another movie. They were apparently going to make a movie of the Broadway show Wicked, which is like a Broadway smash hit. They're apparently going to make a movie that's now been pushed back. I think a really big one that a lot of people are interested in is always the Marvel movies. There's always a Marvel movie that comes out pretty much every May. So Black Widow was the movie this year. It was going to come out May 1st. And as of now, as far as I've heard, there is no tentative release date for that.
Yeah.
Which is, those are big tentpole. Basically, the start of the summer is a Marvel movie. And then one that was really important to me, I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan movies. He's done Inception. He did the Dark Knight franchise. What else? Interstellar, all sorts of great movies. He was going to have a new one called Tenet. That was supposed to be out July 17th, and there's no new release date for that. So dang it.
Well, Zach, let me ask you this. I was just thinking of it while you were talking, but
Yeah.
with this whole COVID-19 pandemic, everybody being locked in their houses and just the whole world being just thrown into kind of a tailspin right now, how do we fill in not that it's a huge priority, there are a lot bigger things going on right now, but how do we fill in that entertainment gap? All these movies that we're not getting, the sports that we're not able to watch, the music that isn't being made in studio. How do we fill all of that?
Here's the thing. I had a friend who told me that once upon a time, if Hollywood stopped right now and nothing else was made, there would still be more content than exists that any one person could consume. So I think that luckily there's plenty. It's a good time to catch up on stuff. It's a good time to see old movies that you see movies that you haven't seen in a while or you've been meaning to. And I think it can be a fun thing. I think it can be a fun experience. I think there's all sorts of new water cooler talk, even though there's no water coolers anymore, apparently. There's all sorts of new water cooler talk that can come out of, like, hey, man, I can't believe I missed this. I can't believe I missed Breaking Bad or whatever, like these
that is true.
Series and stuff like that. So I think
seen a lot of that on Twitter. People saying, what should I watch now?
Yeah. Thank goodness for community. But yeah, like as far as, watching things and having a fun experience, I mean, I personally, if I was to say my ideal movie viewing experience is actually in the home. So I'm okay with that. If I was to say, would I rather, watch movies at home or in a theater? I'm going to my house. I'm going to have I'm a little extra. I'm a little bougie. I got my 4K TV, 4K OLED TV. I mean, come on, 4K OLED TV. I've got my super nice sound bar that costs way too much. I've got moody lighting to get ready for the movie. I've got what I like. Plus, I can pause movies and I can use the restroom. I can get a snack. So I like the home movie viewing experience anyway. So I'm personally okay with it. What about you?
I got to agree with the home movie viewing experience. Almost probably 9 times out of 10, 95 times out of 100, I would rather watch a movie at home, or I'd rather stay home and watch a game. The one exception is when it comes to any movie that I have even a passing interest in that is playing at Broovies. So I don't know if you've experienced Broovies yourself, but
I haven't experienced it. I just remember it was really big in the news during Deadpool.
oh, it's amazing. So yeah. I'll give Broovies a little bit of a plug here, but basically they're a movie theater with a full restaurant, full bar. The one down here in Salt Lake has 2 screens, and they do they show new releases, but then they do all kinds of random fun stuff too. They'll have comedians come in. They'll do, I don't know if you remember. You are probably the type of guy that does remember Mystery Science Theater 2000.
Of course.
They do called the Front Row Film Roast. Pretty similar to the Mystery Science Theater. They just put on a bad movie and will just make jokes about it. And I love Broovies. So if I'm going to leave the house to watch a movie, I'm going to go to Broovies and I'm going to get a beer. Like I said, shades of pale, today's choice to fight off coronavirus, COVID-19. Yeah. But
very nice.
It's a good spot.
So obviously, you probably like the Broovies experience because it kind of gives you the advantages of the home experience in a way. You get to be a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, there's couches in the back. I get food. So yeah, it's very much like the home experience over going to the movie theater. The only drawback compared to most movie theaters these days is they don't have stadium seating.
Oh, that's
typically for Broovies movies, you're only dealing with like 12 people in there, unless it's a really popular film. So it's still always a good experience.
Got it. So I do love the home experience. I still like the movie theaters every once in a while. Well, not every once in a while. I used to go frequently, but every once in a while you have kind of a not so great experience. Have you had any like questionable experiences in a movie theater?
I haven't. Probably none that I should share on SLCC radio. I did have, so quick story here. There was everybody had the dollar movie theater near them growing up, right? Really? Cheap movies, stuff that'd been out for a few months. Well, for me, that theater was a couple towns north of where I grew up, and my best friend and I had this tradition. We would go and see a movie on Monday night almost every week, and we would always go. We would get a couple cans of cherry Coke, and we would sit in the same 2 seats on the second row right-hand side, and cherry Coke made us burp. It was great. It was wonderful. And when you're like a 12-year-old kid going to movies alone, you think burping's the funniest thing in the world. So we would go to these, like, seriously, weeks and months in a row every week, and we would just burp while we're watching these movies. And it was really some of the most formative years of my childhood.
Okay. So I'll tell you about my movie experience, and I'll tell you why I'm the guy that told you to stop. So one time I was watching a movie. I think it was like maybe one like a Pixar movie, right? Like a movie that was totally good for adults, but definitely brought kids in.
Yeah.
And we're near the end of the movie, and suddenly the lights in the theater turn on, and we're like, "Whoa, what's going on? What happened?" And then they turn back off. I'm like, "Okay, cool, no problem." Then they turn back on again, and I was like, "What is going on?" Well, I looked down at the bottom. That at the like right at the front of the screen, there's like just an open area.
Yeah, like a stage area.
Yeah, there's this dad and this kid. Dad has fallen asleep on the front row of the theater, and the kid has run over to the side, and apparently there's like a light switch right over there, and he's just flicking on and off the light. And it's like right at the end of the climax of the movie, like the thing's all wrapping up, and I don't remember the movie, but I was like, I don't know how that ended, because that was all distracting. Well, me being the grumpy old get off my lawn guy that I am, I got up and I was like, I'm gonna do something about this. Well, I had recently, at the time I was at a job that I had a shirt, like a button-up shirt and tie, so I looked mildly official. And I like walked down and I'm like, sir, your son can't be doing that right now. We need to make sure that the patrons have the best movie experience possible. Thank you. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And anyway, so I like scolded this guy for, kid's a kid, whatever. But I'm like, I came back to my seat and I got like this little tiny golf clap of applause from the people behind me.
Okay, wait. How old were you during this story?
This was like 3 years ago.
Oh, okay, perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that movie theaters are fun, though. I think the experience of not being distracted by your phone, not being distracted by the world kind of going in and just shutting off and watching stuff. That's probably one of the things I really miss about all the COVID stuff. Movies, live theater. Just being able to kind of detach from the world for a little bit. As much as I love watching movies at home, and it's a great experience, and I can do so without my pants on, family friendly. I miss being able to go out. So that's one of the things I really look forward to. Okay, thank you, Brian. Thank you for your time. Now, what we're gonna do is Denny, are you back with us?
I should be. I
Oh
hope
my
I'm here.
gosh! Well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna jump over to our news weather traffic man, Denny. What's going on, Denny?
All right, now look, listen, right? According to ABC4, the Utah House Democratic Caucus is urging Governor Herbert to issue a statewide stay-at-home order. The group went on to say Utahns have done some great things so far in the threat of the coronavirus, but we must do more. Governor Herbert must send a stronger message to every person in the state about the severe threat of COVID-19 to our health, our welfare, and our economic well-being. As for weather's still nice, 58 degrees, nothing too much. But tomorrow we should be getting like a good bit of rain, so prepare for that. With a high of 65 and a low of 41. And luckily, traffic is still really nice. There is a bit of construction happening on I-15, so you should watch out for that in case you're driving down it. But other than that, yeah, it's really nice. Like smooth traffic, light traffic all around.
Very nice.
That's all from news weather traffic right now. Back to you.
Thank you, Denny. And I'm glad you were able to go the distance on this one. Sorry about the connection earlier, everybody. All right, so let's continue this talk about movies right now. Movies, but let's move into strictly the home environment. We talked about our movies in the theater. Let's move into the home environment, specifically what we're doing in isolation. Okay, Brian, are you watching movies in your quarantine?
You got to start first on this one. I meant to have my Netflix up so I could tell you what I've been watching.
Oh, okay. I'm ready for you. So I'm normally, here's the thing. I'm normally a movies guy. I have a really, I like movies because I think they tell a story in like 2 hours and we're good. Don't normally watch as much TV. So I actually find myself watching more TV because I got a little bit more time on my hands.
Okay.
So it's kind of interesting. It's changed my viewing habits a little bit. So normally I sit down, I watch a 2-hour movie, I'm good, I move on. Now I sit down, I watch 6 hours of Community, and then I move on.
Yeah.
So it has definitely changed how I'm watching a little bit. I mean, I'm still catching up on some movies that I've missed. But
does move on mean you move from the living room to the bedroom to keep watching? Or?
Pretty much. I go from I'm going to actually formally sit down to I'm going to maybe get on my computer and try and do some homework and instead start watching something and get distracted. And then I'm going to go to my bed and watch on my phone.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right.
So what have you been watching?
So I was watching a little bit of Big Mouth on Netflix. We obviously sat down and watched the Tiger King.
Of course.
That was all the rage last week.
It's funny how it's almost completely died out.
Yeah, now it's almost gone. I am thinking about getting into Ozark.
Yes.
Have you ever watched Ozark on Netflix?
I haven't, but I've heard it's kind of trippy, but really cool. People like it a lot.
Yeah, I've heard it's kind of dark and dramatic, but I don't really know much about it. Just a lot of my podcasters talk about it, so that's
Hmm.
something I want to get into. And then my fiance and I have a stack of what I have titled homework movies that we're working to get through. So it's just movies that I watched growing up that I feel like she is less of a person not having seen. You know,
Hmm. For sure.
we've all been there.
Of course, of course. So I actually too, I just pulled up my Netflix queue. So I'm looking at my continue watching and what I want to watch. A lot of it, like I said, is TV shows. Community just came on Netflix. I've been watching that. I Better Call Saul. It's a show I kind of missed. So I've been starting to watch
Love
that.
that show. The last
Um,
season is currently being being shown.
is it
Not
still
like
okay?
at this moment, but
Yeah,
yeah, Monday nights on the AMC last season.
wonderful. Good plug there.
There you go.
I've also been the last movie that I watched was the movie 21. I don't know if you've seen this movie. It's
Yeah,
from 2008. It's a blackjack card counting movie.
yeah.
A couple MIT students go and make a bunch of money. It's starring the what's his name? Oh my gosh, I know it's starring Kate Bosworth and Christopher Plummer. If you know
You
the
can't
reference.
forget Kevin Spacey on that one.
Yeah, the joke I always make is whenever a movie starring Kevin Spacey, I say it's Christopher Plummer because he replaced him in the last movie that he made. But yeah, it's Kevin Spacey when he was not the creep.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
creepy. We just didn't know.
it's true, that's true. And then Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
I watched that one just because I wanted something fun to watch. And then basically, yeah, just a bunch of TV too is what I've been doing. Okay, so as far as your viewing habits, like, are you changing things the way you watch? Are you watching more? Are you watching less?
I'm definitely watching a lot more.
Yeah,
I mean, if I'm not at school, or I mean, even school now is just screens. And then
exactly.
work, I'm in front of monitors all day.
Sure.
So it's all about screen time for me. And if I'm not working, there's nothing else to distract myself or to keep me busy.
Hmm.
And so I've been watching a lot more Netflix lately in my sleep schedule. I was stunned how fast my sleep schedule changed, and I was no longer tired watching Netflix at 9 o'clock at night. It was like 2 or 3 until I was tired. It's amazing how that worked.
Yeah. I find myself, well, I'm still working, I'm still working. I've become an essential employee, so I'm still working quite a bit, full time, in addition to well, it's cut into my school time, let's be honest,
Yeah,
which has been kind of a bummer. So I haven't been able to watch as much. Also, I've been moving, which has just been a terrible time to move,
yeah, it's not fun.
but I have gotten to watch a little bit more. A couple I forgot, because I didn't watch them on Netflix. I watched the movie Rocket Man. Have you seen this movie?
I
It's
have,
a Elton John movie.
yeah, I didn't watch it yet. I
It's
thought about it. It's on demand.
It's pretty good. I'd check it out. I liked it a lot. Taron Egerton plays Elton John in sort of a biographical movie, but it kind of turns into a trippy musical,
Okay.
on the different songs. It's good. It's one of those things I didn't realize how many Elton John songs I knew and liked.
Yeah,
Uh,
those are always fun. Again,
yeah,
back to that nostalgia again. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember childhood, and I did like this song. Who knew?
yeah. It's like, oh, why do I know every word to this, but I don't really know this song,
Yep, exactly.
And then I like to put on movies in the background a lot. And then when I do, I like to put on movies that have music. Have you seen the movie That Thing You Do, the Tom Hanks movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
So it's a movie that came out in the 90s. It's basically sort of a Beatles-esque band, this small band from this town in Pennsylvania. They break out with this huge one-hit wonder of a song, and it's fun, breezy movie. Tom Hanks actually directed it,
Okay.
and it's really fun. I like this movie, so it's got like a early 60s vibe that I dig. So
Yeah.
I like to throw on. I like to throw on stuff that makes you smile.
Yeah.
I think that especially now, we just kind of need to be kind of happy. I don't need to see anything too dramatic.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest when I am watching, that's the biggest change in my taste. Is it's a lot more lately where if I do put something on, I just want to turn my brain off. Whereas before, the types of movies I would usually seek out were movies that I wouldn't say all the time, but a fair percentage of the time, movies that are going to be thought-provoking and things like that. But there's enough thought-provoking stuff going on in the world, and I don't want to do that when I turn on a movie right now.
That's true. That's true. I think we need to sort of have some sort of escape.
Yeah.
And that's, like I mentioned with movie theaters, I think movies are escapism. And that's a good way.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Netflix. Is that your go-to for watching
Netflix
movies?
is my go-to streaming service because I've never paid for one. So that's the one that I have access to. Thought about getting the Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN package the other day for like $13, and I'd probably never watch it.
It's a good deal. I gotta say, it feels really like, oh man, that's value. I'm a Disney Plus subscriber myself.
Okay.
I got the Founders package. I'm in for 3 years on Disney Plus. I never watch it.
Okay.
I don't know.
The main reason why I didn't do it, one, I don't know what's on Hulu, but with the Disney, I don't have kids and I'm not going to have kids. I really question how much Disney stuff I'm actually going to sit down and watch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could be like me and you could fire up Disney Plus, and in all of their catalog, all the movies you could watch Sister Act.
Sister Act. Whoopi Goldberg.
That was the movie of choice the other day.
Oh, what a great film. No, I don't know. I'll throw this out to everyone before we get into our next segment. But there's a group, the Beehive Sports and Recreation. What is it? I can't even remember the whole name of their group, but it's Beehive Sports, and they do a bunch of different sports around the valley. And right now they've been doing movie viewing parties online, doing the Zoom viewing parties and getting people on there to talk and just go bits and go back and forth and get that social aspect. Some of what you miss in not going to the movie theaters or watching movies with your friends, you can still do by doing these Zoom viewing parties, and that's something that I've seen that's fun, and just watching technology help people stay connected a little bit.
Yeah. The downside is and Allison on our chat on Facebook Live agrees with me. I really miss movie theater popcorn, man.
I make the best popcorn in the world. I'll have to bring some to you one day if we ever have.
Just drop it off at my doorstep and stay away.
I got you.
All right. Well, please, if you do have something that, you are interested in, as far as, something you've maybe discovered from this time of quarantine, if there's some media that you like, we want to hear about it. So drop us a comment in this video, or you can head to our Twitter at SLCC or SLCCSMC and use the hashtag SLC Live or SLCC Live. And let us know what you find interesting, because we want to hear. We're going to need to help each other out to give out, the good suggestions for content. All right. We're going to move on. In a world filled with choices, what will they decide? We will find out in our movie version of Would You Rather. Did it work? Was it good? Did I do it?
I think it worked. Yeah.
All right. We are going to head over to our producer, the man he's the glue for this show. He is going to jump in and give us some questions for a Would You Rather.
Thanks, Zach. You guys have been doing a fantastic job today. Okay. So I'm going to throw you some Would You Rathers. This is all movie themed. And then later on in Would You Rather, our lightning round is going to be To the Thunderdome, which is 2 movies enter, 1 movie leaves. So you have to pick between the 2 movies that I give you. Okay? Everybody ready?
Do we have to have a group consensus on the Thunderdome?
No. No, this is just you.
Okay.
But if you guys decide if later on you want to make a consensus to make it a little harder, I'm completely for that. Okay, so I'm going to lowball you for the first one. Would you rather be a Jedi or a Sith?
I have to say Jedi.
Okay, Brian.
I want to be a good guy at heart.
Neither really have very much meaning to me. I know that they're both Star Wars. So, I mean, let's go with Jedi
There we
because
go.
I'm more familiar with that.
All right, Denny.
All right. Listen, while I usually like being the good guy, I think the Sith have a lot more freedom to do what they want, and I like freedom. Freedom is pretty cool.
All right. There you go.
Love it.
All right. So, imagine that you're about to do this big fight. Would you rather have Rambo on your side or Terminator on your side?
Ooh.
Come with me if you want to live. Terminator.
Yeah.
Terminator? Okay.
I'm taking Rambo. John Rambo.
Italian stallion. Okay.
Okay, Denny?
This is a hard one, dude.
I
Like,
know.
I can't. Terminator, maybe, because I like Arnold's accent.
Hey,
And yeah,
good choice.
Okay. So, this next one is okay. Would you rather go to the movies completely alone, no one is in the theater, or with your group of friends, but they won't stop talking?
Can I confess that I'm a movie talker?
Ooh.
Okay, I've been to both. I've been in both situations. So I think I'd rather go to the movie alone.
Okay. Brian?
There are few things better than walking into a movie theater and realizing that you are either alone or you and your group of people are the only ones there.
Mhm.
I love being able to chat through a movie in the theater as long as I'm the only one there. If there are other people outside of my group, I won't do it though.
Okay. Denny?
yeah, I gotta agree with Brian here. Like, if I'm the only one there with my group of friends, like I'll make as many jokes as I possibly can throughout the movie. I don't care. But like, if there are people around me, I really don't want to like breathe louder than I should.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely me. I don't really, I just like to watch the movie. I don't really talk a lot. I'm sort of that dude when it comes to movies.
I
All
talk
right.
a lot. I'm a problem. When we shout out to my good friend Jeff, when we watch movies together at my house, I start talking and he gets so mad at me.
Okay. Would you rather? Okay, so I guess this is just a personal question.
Okay.
Do you have subtitles on or off when you're watching a movie? At home.
On about 60% of the time.
Okay. Zach?
I have them on 100% of the time. I have loud friends.
All right, Denny?
It kind of depends on like what I'm watching. Like, if I'm watching like an American movie, I keep them off because my brain doesn't want to read English when I hear English. It's just one of those things. But if I'm watching like a Korean flick or like a Japanese flick, I kind of have to because I don't speak either language.
Mm-hmm. I watch them with the subtitles on. My sister it's just something from my sister that I enjoy reading it and then seeing what happens. It doesn't really bother me if there's spoilers in the subtitle.
I find that I don't have to wonder what they say. I don't have to think. Wait, what was that? Because sometimes you can't. Like, if a Vin Diesel movie, hey, it was all about the family. Like, I don't have to worry. I always know what he's
That
saying.
was really good.
Okay. Would you rather be a main character in a horror movie or be a B character in a disaster film?
Who is the main character in the disaster film?
Probably The Rock.
'Cause
That's
if I
just
could
where
be
it's trending.
next to The Rock when he says, it's the San Andreas fault. Count me in.
Okay.
I think that I would be the B character, just because even main characters, you never know, and they go through the most. Even if they live at the end, they go through the most in a horror movie. Whereas like a B character, I have the potential to be like the funny friend, so I'll take that.
Okay.
Right.
Denny?
Usually the main character lives throughout like the horror movie, and like I don't want to live traumatized that hard. So I think I'll be character.
Ooh, that's a good point. I think I'd rather be in the horror movie.
Yeah.
Okay. So, final question for the Would You Rathers. Would you rather watch The Room by Tommy Wiseau 3 times in a row, or watch Room starring Brie Larson for 24 hours straight?
I don't know what either of those are.
Oh. Okay.
Denny, have you seen either of these movies?
See, I've watched the Tommy Wiseau, The Room, and like I love it ironically, and that's really all I can say about that.
Okay.
Room is a good but heavy movie. So I think it would be a little weighty on my soul. But The Room, which is it's the best bad movie of all time. It is so cringy, especially the love making scenes. They're just the worst. But I love this movie ironically. So I would absolutely watch The Room 3 times in a row and laugh
There
on my
you
way
go.
to the bank.
Okay. So, now we're going to the Thunderdome. Sorry, let me try that again with the radio voice. Now we're going to the Thunderdome.
No.
Okay, so Rocky or Rambo?
Ah,
The other
Think
movie
about
is
it, Shanty.
deleted from existence entirely.
Oh. Okay. Still Rocky.
All right, Brian?
yeah, give me Rocky. I have no ties personally to Rambo.
Deleted from existence.
All right, Denny?
This is a hard one because I grew up like watching both. I know it's a weird movie to grow up watching, but I did it. Rocky has to be Rocky.
All right, Rocky for me too. Spaceballs or Blazing Saddles?
Oh.
Ah,
I pick Blazing Saddles and Spaceballs is gone forever, you monster.
Okay, Brian?
I'm gonna go Spaceballs because I have seen it more recently.
Okay.
God, I'd hate to do away with that singing bush though.
All right, Denny?
I gotta say Spaceballs because I like the name.
Okay. So we're gonna speed this up a little bit. The Godfather or Goodfellas?
Godfather.
Brian?
Godfather or Goodfellas?
Yes.
Goodfellas.
Denny?
I'm going Godfather. I'm going Godfather.
All right. Goodfellas for me. Inception or The Dark Knight?
Our
Dark Knight.
children. This
Yeah.
is not fair. I'm gonna take Inception.
Okay, Brian? Brian?
Oh, we're waiting for me?
Yeah.
No, I'm a Batman guy through and through, so it's all Dark Knight.
Okay, Denny?
I gotta agree with the Dark Knight, but it's not because I'm a Batman guy. I just really like the memes that come with it.
It's true.
Okay, so let's go. I have a huge list in front of me. Blade Runner or Silence of the Lambs?
What a weird combination. I
Mhm.
think Silence of the Lambs I would keep.
You would keep?
Silence of the Lambs.
Okay, Denny?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with them. Silence of the Lambs.
All right. Back to the Future or Bill and Ted?
Back to the Future is one of my favorites, but I love Bill and Ted. But I'm taking Back to the Future.
Okay, Brian?
Bill and Ted. Their adventures were so excellent. Can you disagree?
I cannot. Denny?
I like Back to the Future a lot, so I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay. Ghostbusters or Gremlins?
Ghostbusters.
Gremlins.
Ooh. Denny?
Ghostbusters.
Okay, and the last one, E.T. or The Goonies?
80s classics. Oh, I think I'm gonna keep Goonies.
Okay. Brian?
Rocky Road. You got to go Goonies. There's no doubt about that one.
Denny?
Yeah, absolutely. Goonies.
Here's the conceit. I'm gonna watch Goonies, but I'm gonna eat Reese's Pieces while I do it.
All right.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's a sin. That's
Okay.
that's a deadly sin.
I'm gonna shout out. Our professor Matt Merkel, who's commenting. He's joining along, playing along, and he says when it was Ghostbusters, he said Ghostbusters all the way. You never root against Murray. Bill Murray's the man.
Okay. So now I'm going to toss it back to you, Zach, and I'm out. Bye, everybody.
Right. Wonderful job, Alex. That was a blast. I hope you got to play along. Alex making us have some brutal choices of would you rather. But sometimes, in these times of question and these times of confusion, you just got to get down to the hard stuff and decide, do I want Rambo or Rocky in my life? Okay. But before we finish out for the day, we're going to throw it back to our man Denny one more time for the news, weather, and traffic. It's all you, Denny.
All right. It's me, Mr. Comcast Internet. And as for the news, we got some fresh off the press. Presidential candidate Bernie Sanders has ended his 2020 presidential campaign. He says he didn't like the results of the presidential primaries and has decided to drop out, quoting, "I have concluded that this battle for the Democratic nomination will not be successful." And
Whoa. That's big news.
kind of sucks. The people that voted Bernie. Yeah, the weather for the week is nice, at least, except for tomorrow where it's raining. We're hitting mid 60s all throughout the week, except Sunday, which is 47. We're going back down. It's Utah weather. This shouldn't be, anything too new for a Utah. But unlike Utah, we actually have good roads this time around. There's so far clear traffic. And there is a little bit of construction happening on I-15, and there is a road closure on I-15 if you're heading northbound on I-15. Other than that, we're straight. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Denny. Wow. I didn't know about Bernie. That's crazy. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Wonderful work. Thank you so much, everyone. Remember, you can catch all of our shows on the SLCCSMC Facebook page, and we are also on Radio SLCC. That's radioslcc.com. We want to hear from you. Comment on our Facebook. Head over to Twitter, twitter.com/SLCCSMC, so we can hear from you. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be back next week, same time, 10:30 on Wednesday. So we want to see you on our Facebook Live, on SLCC Live. Have a good day.